When I was only 2 years old, I would experience what would be my first ever video game, Super Mario 64. For the time, it was mind-blowing. Walking around the castle and jumping into paintings of all things, it was magical. It was the game that introduced me to gaming. I mentioned many times, even some would say maybe too many times, that my favorite genres in gaming are platformers and horror. But I also realized I never really mentioned much about the other genres that I also do love. Like, I love the FPS genre and have been since I ever played Perfect Dark on the N64. But another genre that I came to love during the same time would be the fighting game genre, with 2 games being responsible for it: Killer Instinct Gold and Tekken 3. Tekken 3 was this mind-blowing game at the time. The game looked fantastic and the model quality was just great. The fighting was satisfying as it was tough to master, and the soundtrack was incredible. I still think to this day that 3 alongside Dark Resurrection are the best in the series. I always love playing the next installment of this series and seeing how much it can evolve. Not only from its gameplay, but the story as well. Tekken is like the only fighting game series where I actually care about the story mode. Like, I love Street Fighter, but I could not give a fuck about the story mode of that game. I love the characters and the stories, but not the story mode itself. And Mortal Kombat, well, I used to really like the story, but nowadays, I think it's just become really stupid and just kind of convoluted for me. So I pretty much played most of the series outside of like the mobile game, which does look decent, but I don't really play a lot of mobile games. The only one I really play actively is Clash Royale. I do love these games dearly and hold them in a high regard, not only as fighting games, but as games in general. So with Bandai announcing Tekken 8, I was beyond hyped. Like, Jesus, this game looked amazing. And these models, they looked so damn good. This would look like to be the best looking fighting game of all time. I mean, just look at Asuka. She looks perfect. But now with the game release, is it really as amazing as I was hoping? Yes. I mean, spoilers, I guess, but yes, it fucking delivered. So without further ado, let's get right into the game. Booting up the game, we are greeted by an opening cutscene, and it looks fantastic. This might be my second favorite opening in the series, with Tekken 3 still being on top for me. Like, that one just, I think it's so hard to top. Getting past the intro, you'll be greeted by Kazuya staring.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Clicking the start button, we get to the full menu. Moving around like the menu, we get to see several parts of Kazuya up close. So there's many options you can go through with this menu, but let's start with the story mode. Also, I just want to quickly mention that my files got corrupted in recording for the story mode, so most of the cutscenes and footage in the story mode I borrowed from Senior Aesthetics. I have linked the channel below so you can watch him play the story mode in full if you're interested. With that out of the way, let's get into the story. The story opens up with New York being attacked by Kazuya and his men. Kazuya survives, of course, with both of them starting to clash against each other. So for now I'm not going to focus much on the fighting itself, that's going to come later in the video. For now I'm just going to focus on the story, so I'm not going to be spending too much time on explaining the fights and such as that. Okay? Okay. After fighting for a while, both Kazuya and Jin transformed into their devil forms. Despite Jin's best effort to beat him, Kazuya just demolishes him. Kazuya then announces to the world that the next big King of Iron Fist tournament is on the way.
The King of Iron Fist tournament の開催を宣言する。強き者はトーナメントに集え。己の拳で栄光を勝ち取るがいい。ただし力を示せぬ弱者は国ごと消えてもらうことになる。さあ、全人類よ、世界を 闘争で満たせ。
As Jin is in the water sinking more and more, a shadowy figure arrives, his devil self, trying to reach his hand, but Jin refuses, saying how he won't be consumed by the devil just like Kazuya has been consumed by his devil. We then cut out to Jin sitting alone for himself at a military base. A friend of Jin, Lars Alexanderson, comes up to Jin and wants to test his skills and see if he still got it. After the battle, Lars can tell that Jin isn't exactly as he used to be, almost become weaker than before. Jin tries to transform into the devil, but he fails. It just won't come out like it used to be. The fight with Kazuya definitely did something to hinder his abilities. We then see Jin trying to fight against his girlfriend, aka the one he doesn't have. Elisa, as he's watching Jin fight himself, goes down to him to cheer him up. Jin thanks Elisa for having saved him in the rubble after his fight, but he feels frustrated after having seemingly lost his devil powers. Elisa tries to be a good friend and tries to cheer him up by telling him that he is the hope of mankind and that his will of power is stronger than anyone else.
ジンさんの誰より強い意志と覚悟をみんなが知っています。あまり抱え込まないでくださいね。
みんなの希望か。希望をつかむには俺の手は汚れすぎた。
On the top of the deck, both Lars and Lee are discussing who to enter the tournament to find out more about the devil Jin. Lee suggests Alyssa, but Jin arrives in the room saying he will enter. While not being at his peak, he's still confident enough that he can win the opponents and find Kazuya and put his life to an end. We're then at the tournament showing clips of some fighters that are going to be in the next round.
Paul, I expect you to keep your promise now that you beat me.
Yeah, I won't let him go unchecked. I'll give Kazuya a nice smack in the face!
Jin, as he walks away from the fight, gets greeted by a newcomer called Rina, as she is not only congratulating him but also is a super fan. But Jin, being in his Sigma mode, ignores her completely. He is certainly stronger than me, that's for sure. After all the fights, Jin has still not shown his devil form. The announcer then announces that the newcomer Rina has moved up to the top 4, which will mean she will fight against Jin. Not only that, but Wurang has moved up to the semifinals as well. Jin and Rina opt for the next battle, but as she's about to tell Jin, Jin should not be fooled by her looks.
戦えますね、ジン先輩。私、試合の時は荒っぽくなるので気をつけてくださいね。
He then gets beaten by her with an attack style that seems very familiar to Hayashi's Mishima style.
三島流だと。
どうしました？亡霊でも見たかのような顔しちゃって。
At this point, it's clear that Rina is not who he thought she was and had some other intentions. As the fight proceeds and Jin not showing his devil side, Rina plans to win against him, but at the moment of punching him, the devil form comes back for a bit and punches Rina back. Rina, finding out the awakening of the devil powers come from near death, she decides to give up and let Jin win. Right after, Wurang jumps into the ring and wanting to fight Jin.
적당히 몸이 풀린 것 같군.
フォーラン。
네 몸이 다시 굳기 전에 싸우자고. 가자마 진!
As the fight progresses, he starts to gain his devil power again and they beat the shit out of Wurang. Jin is now up for the finals in Italy, and while walking down in the hallway again, he is met with Rina, who has a favor to ask him. We then cut to inside a church in Italy, where Claudio and Safina is discussing how Jin defeated Azazel, a demon who roamed the earth way before mankind was born. Azazel is currently captured in Safina's hand, but there is a bigger threat to be worried about. As Kazuya's power grows, Jin's power has been lost. With this, they need to find Jin and try to get his power back. Oh, and Sayo and her panda is also there, so. We're back at the ship with Rina thinking about the thing she told Jin earlier, the request.
かっこよかったですよ、ジン先輩。
お前はレイナか。
実は私、ジン先輩にお願いがあるんです。私にも三島和也を倒すお手伝いをさせてほしいんです。
それは お前が使った技と関係があるのか。
三島流の技ですか？あれは動画サイトの見よう見まねですよ。
At the base, a helicopter lands with two German dudes coming out of it. The guy with the sunglasses is Professor Nicholas, and the blonde one is Leo, who is his son, who was also in the previous fighting tournament. Leo, seeing Jin, immediately wants to fight him, in which Jin just nods and just like, yeah, sure, why not? After the fight, Leo also notices that Jin is not like he used to be. The professor comes with more of his research of the devil gene. Azazel created several humans and gave them the devil gene to act as his servants. The devil gene will give the user immense power, and to strengthen its power was by desire. Leo states he did feel something when Jin was fighting him, like a warmth, like a heart beating. Rina in the background will be happily observing how Jin gets back his full powers. We're then in Italy at the Battle of the Colosseum with the final tournament of the Iron Fist. With Asuka and Lily watching Jin fight, while Warren comes right after they're also watching fight. We're then shown all the fighters that are in the finals, with the last battle being between Jin and Leroy Smith. Upon meeting Jin, Leroy thanks him for standing up to Kazuya in New York and gives him some of his wisdom.
俺には力が足りなかった。そして今はあの時よりも。
Without heart, strength means nothing. Show it to me. Show me your heart.
As the fight goes on, Leroy tells Jin he has to go to listen to his heart and not fear his power.
Jin Kazama, believe in your heart and let go of your fear.
He proceeds to win against Leroy, and Kazuya comes to the scene and proclaims the winner shall get compensated for their efforts, with the crowd going completely wild, with purple haze coming out of them. With this, the gang shortly arrives to help Jin out and evacuate the other people in the Colosseum. With Safina running in the middle of the arena, Kazuya drops and grabs her, releasing Azazel from her arm. As Safina is on the ground, she tells Jin to not give up, as he's the last hope for humanity, and then she passed out. With this, Kazuya frees Azazel from his prison. He arrives thanking Kazuya for freeing him, but unbeknownst to Azazel, Kazuya does not want to serve him, but instead has Azazel serve him. Azazel, being appalled by this, starts to fight against Kazuya. Beating Azazel makes Kazuya transform into the Kazuya Devil Azazel form. Kazazel. I like the name. Kazazel. By seeing this, Lars insists on Jin travel back to the forest he was raised in and try to gain back his devil powers, while he and some of the others will try and distract Kazuya. Jin, alongside Asuka, Lily, Sayo and her panda, runs back to jet plane while the others are going to try to slow him down. Short story, they can't even touch Kazuya in his form. I mean, he just demolished them. Like this one attack, they're all clocking out. With Rina jumping on top of Lars and headbutts Kazuya, causing him to make an arena of these two. Despite 5 other people trying to fight Kazuya at once and failing, Rina is the only one that actually managed to get some hits on him. I think with this we can definitely tell that Rina is a lot tougher than she looks like. Rina, while still delivering some hits to Kazuya, still fails to beat him, but luckily the Exorcist managed to create a chain to hold Kazuya together and shoot his super mega light arrow, which he misses. We're then shown a scene that earlier he talked to Sayo that by going against Kazuya, he will most likely die. Before he dies, he makes the arrow turn around towards Kazuya. Kazuya proceeds to shoot his laser at the Exorcist and kills him with the arrow right after hitting Kazuya. At first it don't seem to have done much damage, but we see on Kazuya's shoulder he is hurt. He then proceeds to fly away back to his office. Back at his office, his assistant Nina has found some fighters to fight on Kazuya's side in his army, with them launching an attack on an island where Jin grew up. On the good guy's side of the conflict, they discuss finding a way to stop Kazuya now that he has grown so powerful and strong. Even stronger than Azazel. Rina mentions how the Exorcist did manage to hurt him with his power, which means there is a possible way to defeat Kazuya, but Jin is the only way who can truly beat him. Jin, Shao and the panda are walking towards the place he and his mother used to visit. He does seem to hear a known melody of a song his mother used to sing for him. By walking towards the tree, he starts to grow tired, As he sits down, he tells Sayo that he won't be gone for too long as he's about to go on a spiritual journey. Ooh! But just right after, the forest is being attacked by these Jack robot units from Kazuya's army. Sayo is going to protect Jin at all costs and starts beating the absolute shit out of them without the panda's help. Like, I'm not even joking, the panda does nothing. Inside Jin's mind, we're transferred into a white empty wasteland that looks a lot like the scene where Rango meets Clint Eastwood. He hears voices from the past of him and his mother, but he is super confused of what exactly this place is. We're then at the battlefield where Alexander's army is going to fight the G-Corp army, but they do have a backup of several people from the tournament, including Paul. With this, the army is ready to attack with Lars driving just straight on, not giving a single goddamn fuck. And here we get to play as Lars, but not in a 2D plane, but a fully 3D space. It actually reminds me a lot of how Tekken 6 story mode was and how a lot of fights were handled there. You get to play as several characters in these battles, like Lars, Steve, Lee, Alyssa, and Paul, with some even having fights against other tournament contestants that joined the G Corporation, even including fucking Law, who only joined G Corporation so he can get Paul's shared money from the winning prize. I can't stress enough how stupid these two are, and I love them so much. Even after a fight, we have Kuma trying to kill Paul, but instead he gets shot by a rocket. It's just so stupid, but I love this shit. And later you have Leo fighting against a Peru chick because she wanted to join the G Corporation to promote her drink, and when beating her, she's like, well, I'll guess I'll take my coffee somewhere else. Okay, bye. Rina gets a chance to fight as well against Nina, and after winning, Rina wants her to join her, with Nina being like, yeah, I'll consider it. But then we get Alyssa against the new Jack unit. 8. Alyssa fights Jack but gets beaten up, and right before he's about to do a hasta la vista, our favorite Yuri couple comes to rescue and knocks it out. As the battle starts to seem more hopeful, Alyssa gets a familiar reading. A reading from Kazuya, who just flies to the island and just absolutely destroys everyone with his laser, even including Rina, who wants to feel his power. We're back at Sayo looking pretty beat after having beaten all the Jackal robots, with one still standing up and running towards her, about to attack when Lars luckily saves the day. But the panda? No, of course not. The panda is nowhere to be seen. I don't know where the panda is, I don't know. Soon after, Kazuya arrives, and as he lands on the ground, he creates a strong wind that blows her and the panda away, and it looks funny as fuck. But Lars is still standing and fights against Kazuya so he can give Jin some extra time in his dream world. But not long after, Kazuya shoots with his dark laser and blasts Lars. Walking away, however, Lars stands up and is not done with his fight. As Kazuya looks back, he's reminded of Hayashi. Kazuya! With Jin in this state of mind, enters a new place with a pool of water. Suddenly seeing his mom laying there, he rushes towards her, but as soon as he does, she disappears. Right after he starts hearing a voice. The devil Jin tries to get Jin to succumb to the devil side, but he refuses and fights him. After beating him, we enter another battle with the devil reminding Jin of his past mistakes.
孤独な戦いこそが食材だ。
But Jin's will to fight does not come from anger, but from the will to help others. We get another really cool fight with the Devil Jin having music from one of my favorite tracks in the series. With Jin beating him, he has finally come to terms with his sins and moves forward from his anger. Right after he arrives at the desert again with his other self walking towards him, being his angel self.
過去の己と向き合い乗り越えてきたようだな。ああ、怒りと憎しみが俺たちを生かしてくれた。そうだ、罪と使命が俺たちを強くしてくれた。全ては今の自分につながっている。
But to fully move on, he will need his other self's help. Being beaten by his angel self, his devil gene chain is finally broken. He asks his other self for help for the last time and turns into his devil angel form. Lars, being pretty tough and having survived the fight against Kazuya, is about to get blasted by Kazuya's laser in order to try and protect Jin, when Jin finally comes to save Lars at the last second. Sao, being happy to see Jin again, finds it weird how before she was scared of his devil form, but now she isn't at all, and tells Jin not to die on her. I also gotta say, I love how Jin in this game actually treats Sayo with respect. Now there's only one thing to do, and that is to stop Kazuya once and for all. Clashing with him in the skies and slamming into the ground, they both appear in an underground arena. Like in the first fight, both Jin and Kazuya shoot laser at each other, only this time, Jin's laser is stronger than Kazuya's, which is a cool detail to show how much stronger Jin has gotten. After fighting for a bit, Kazuya is charging up a mega shadow ball that is going to wipe out the entire island. Jin tries to stop it, but the ball is just too powerful. Jin is not powerful enough, and when it seems like all hope is lost, a familiar voice talks to him.
ジン、自分の命を諦めないで。
As he enters his mind again, he's seeing his mother for the first time in a long time. Jin tells her he isn't strong enough, as he proclaims. If he can't win this battle, then his life has no meaning. His mother tells Jin that he always puts his life on the life of others, and he's second. He's a kind soul, and while protecting others it's a great thing, it's also important to protect himself.
母さん、俺は生きたいと思っていいのか。
風間の力は命を育み、魔を清め払う。その力であなた自身と和也さんを救ってあげて。ジン、いってらっしゃい。
With this, he's able to transform into his super angel form. Being able to stop the shadow ball, now Kazuya and Jin can have the proper battle. But not without a really fucking awesome arena showing up. Now on the floating rock in space, it is now time between the fight with good versus evil, and oh my god, this fight is incredible. Most of the fights in this story mode have been, pretty cool and awesome, but this one is amazing. Being both godlike figures clashing against each other, flying up and then pounding each other was just absolutely amazing. By far the longest fight in the story with several phases, but at the end, Jin and Kazuya punches each other, with both using all their powers.
ねじ伏せろ。それこそが力だ。大事なものを守り、未来へつなぐ。そのための力だ。
Now The rock platform falling back down to Earth and back on the island surprisingly doesn't destroy the island. With both of them being humans, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to fight again. This time they fight as normal human beings. No devil form, no angel form, no superpowers, just two guys beating the shit out of each other. One will go away alive and one will not.
誰であろうと殺す
Not only is this fight probably my favorite fight in the game, it is one of my favorite fights in the entire series, maybe even top 1. I love the fight not only because of the atmosphere and the music, but also because of Jin's character development in his fighting styles. At first, he uses karate style with the music describing it in the background. But then he switches to his Mishima fighting style, meaning he has gone back to the roots of his fighting style from Tekken 3. Then lastly he uses Kasami fighting style to honor his mother June, who was the one who originally taught him the style in the first place. After a long fight, Kazuya managed to get some hits on Jin, which at first it would seem like it won.
俺を支配しようとする者は何者も許さん 戦いとは最後にどちらが立っているかそれだけだ
But Jin, still being driven by hope, stands up.
戦いとは生きることそのものだ。
しぶといやつめ
Driven by hope of his friends, he continues to fight against Kazuya. Jin and Kazuya delivers their final punch at all, with Jin being the one standing. With this, he thanks his mother for his help and knows someday he will meet her again. We then see him driving his motorcycle and seeing Sayo again. Kazuya is still on the ground after the fight, is being approached by someone we can see, but with his shoes, I think it's easy to tell that this is June. So yeah, she will come back the next game. Woo! Right after we get that somewhat, the clip show what the characters were doing in the aftermath with these pictures. Claudio, by the way, he's shown to be alive, so hooray! Everyone is doing good! As the Bandai Namco logo appears, Rina crushes it and swears revenge on her father.
平八お父様、私が必ず
Was that the bite?
I actually really love the way they're setting up this ending for the next game. With Jin and Kazuya losing the devil powers, I believe in the next game, both Kazuya and Jun will be teaming up to stop Rina as she has gained the devil gene. I just hope we can see Rina either throwing down Jin or Kazuya down the cliff because, you know, for tradition, it would be funny. Tekken 8, unfortunately, doesn't have a throwing off cliff scene. Oh wait, it does! By the final fight with Kazuya, if you lose that fight with Kazuya and Jin doing the punch at each other, Jin will be the one losing. And with that we get Kazuya throwing down Jin a cliff. Oh my god, I was so happy seeing this. I love this so much. This is like the best thing about the series. It's so good. With the bad ending as well, like Kazuya uses power to cause chaos around the world. You can see how it's different ending from like the good guys, bad guys. But as Asina, she's just serving coffee anyway. For her, it doesn't really matter. As long as business is booming, that's all that matters for her. So that was the story mode in this game, and honestly, I found it fucking amazing. Seeing characters like Jin being developed and loose ends being tied up with a great setup for the next story mode, it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to Tekken 9 story mode, even though it's probably gonna take like 6 to 7 years realistically, but you know what? I'll wait for it. So with the story mode done, let's get to the part that most people actually care about, which is the fighting. And I can safely say that Tekken 8 succeeds amazingly. The fighting just feels so fantastic, better than ever I would say. The punches, the kicks and everything feels so satisfying to pull off. Especially when you do a combo chain, oh my god, that shit feels so good. It always amazed me how they managed to make the fighting feel better and better. You know, with Tekken Tag Tournament 2, I was like, oh, it can't get better than this. And then they do it again, they top it and it becomes better. I don't know how to do it. And part of why the fighting is so satisfying is because of the animations and the sound design. It is incredible. When you do a punch or kick that does a lot of damage, you can feel the impact. There's such power and capiche to them. We also get the heat meter back from Tekken 7 where the fighter has low enough health, if activated and hit the opponent, would do the super move doing a lot of damage. You can either block or dodge the move, but when you hit someone with it, it is so satisfying. I think my favorite one is probably Rina's. The way she just drags the opponent on the ground, the way she just punched into the wall, it is so cool. I don't find any characters in the game not fun to play. Sure, I have some I like to play more than others, but I don't find any of them boring at all. Before the fights as well, we get the classic characters saying something to the opponent. You know, this has been a staple in fighting games for quite a while. For most of the cast, the characters will pretty much say the same thing to their opponent. However, there are some exceptions in which are in these special character intros where they have some personal history with their opponent. As an example, Rina against most opponents will say this towards them. However, when it's towards Kazuya, Jin and Kuma, she has a unique dialogue as well as them to her. Each character has about 2 to 3 different intros and outros. My favorite intro though is definitely the one for Law.
I hate rich people!
My favorite outro though is definitely this one from Rina. I love this one so much. It's such a cool reference. Tekken 8 also offers a great variety of arenas to fight in. I love the stratosphere. Not only is the music dramatic, but the background is just so cool. I always love this space setting and stages. They look so amazing. Yakushima Forest is a really cool stage. I always really like the forest stage in Tekken. It's something about them that always hits right to me. Also fun fact, the vocals playing in this track are actually sung by Asuka's voice actor, so that's also pretty cool. The arena is a pretty good stage, nothing super unique, but you know, it's still fun. And the underground arena is nice too. Rebel Hangar is alright to be honest. It's probably one of my least favorite stages. It's just not super interesting to me with the exception of the music, which is fucking awesome. The Colosseum is an awesome arena. I love how the music starts very elegantly and grand. Elegant Palace is an amazing stage and by far one of my favorites. I love fighting in this grand elegant mansion while beating the shit out of my opponents. I just hope Lee can forgive me for destroying this place. I'm sorry Lee, you can probably pay for that. Midnight Siege is a pretty cool stage, being atop of a destroyed building in a war zone, and if you hit the player hard enough against the wall, they will explode. It's awesome. Celebration of the Scene is super cool, as well as being on a boat sailing through Paris with a super nice sunset. Urban Square is also one of my favorites, especially during the night where the city is burning with all this chaos going around. And the music is... it is amazing. Fallen Destiny is the Tekken 8 stage. I love the background with the lightning and huge waves of water alongside the incredible music. Secluded's training ground is alright, but I feel like we just had the same stage over and over again like many times. Oryx's farm is amazing. Act like a sequel to Hidden Retreat from Tekken 6 and it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You even get alpacas in the background, which is just so delightful. Descent into the Subconsciousness has 3 different types of stages and all of them are amazing and unique. My favorite one is definitely the White Desert one. It looks so fucking cool. And last we got Sanctum, which is another great one. I really love the music in this one. This game looks incredible and is by far the best looking fighting game I have ever seen. The detail of the characters are incredible. Like characters' muscles, this looks amazing with so much detail. Not only does the characters look amazing, but so does the environment. Environments like the Into the Stratosphere and Fallen Destiny are just so beautiful to look at. It's just, it's so good. This game is such a massive improvement over its previous title 7. For me at the time, while 7 looked good, I always thought the character models always looked off. Like the environments looked fantastic, but the character models looked like they were always made of plastic and were very sweaty. I honestly found a lot of the models a downgrade from Tekken Tag Tournament 2, especially characters like Asuka. She had such a perfect look in that game, and here comes 7 and it's just, yeah, it's not great. But hey, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been Street Fighter X Tekken model. But her model in 8 is amazing, like what a massive glow up. And that's for basically all the characters, all of them looks fantastic. Again, best looking fighting game I've ever seen. And alongside an amazing looking game, 8 also offers a fantastic soundtrack. Tekken always delivers on its music, making you hyped up to play the game even more. The whole soundtrack is a joy to listen to, and it is one of my favorites in the series. Now, when it comes to the new playable characters in 8, they're also all pretty fantastic. First, we got Victor, a old but badass Frenchman who is the leader for an army using several gadgets such as swords in fights. He's really fun to play, and his heat move is just fucking awesome. Tekken has proven that they can actually make me like the French, even if it's just for 2 characters, but both of them are pretty sick. I was a bit skeptical of Assassina at first. I thought she was going to be a somewhat obnoxious character like Lucky Chloe in 7, but thankfully Asu is really awesome. I love her energy and how she's always like almost dancing and how much she cares for coffee. I also find her really fun to play. I'm not that great with her, but she's definitely one I'm going to try to get good at some point. Assassina makes me want to drink coffee, and I fucking hate coffee, so that's an achievement. And lastly, we got Rina.
This right here is my favorite thing ever.
Okay, but seriously, Rina is fantastic and became my favorite character in the series. I love her character, her design is amazing. She's also really fun to play with. Also, she has the same voice actor as Nobara from JJK, so that's also really cool. Rina is an overall amazing character, and I'm very excited to see her in Tekken 9. I can't talk about this game and not mention the customization. Tekken 5 introduced players with being able to customize their favorite character with different outfits, hair color and so on, and 8 is no different. I love customizing characters, either making them so cool or making them so dumb. Well yes, I could make Rina even cooler with cool sunglasses and with an awesome outfit and a face mask, or I can make her have a bread hat.
Oh, this is beautiful.
For returning characters, I also have alt costumes about their main outfits in the older games, like Asuka with a dojo outfit from 5 or Kazuya with his Tekken 6 fit. I do have some form of critique though. I wish they had some more hair options for different characters, or even some of the characters' own hair on others, like Lily's hair on Rina or Rina's hair on Sayu. You know, I think that would have been really cool and pretty nice to see. So overall customization, pretty awesome. After doing the story, you can also do the character chapters. This has been a staple in Tekken series since the first game in the series, but they kind of changed how they worked in Tekken 7. Before you had to beat the arcade mode with the certain character beating the arcade mode with to get the ending, with them being what if scenarios. In 7 and 8 however, these are unlocked by doing their own chapter. Just like in this game, these endings are what if scenarios, but these are where the human Tekken really shines, so let's get through them. In Jin's ending, he is reunited with his mother where she makes him some lovely dinner and we get this really funny expression. Also, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of peas. Asuka's ending has her traveling back to the Kasama Jojo and making it like it was before Lily, quote unquote, ruined the feel of it. With her having to fight Lily, but this time it's just for fun, you know. Kuma's ending has him winning the tournament, traveling into space to propose to the panda, but messes up and makes him float away, and then wakes up and realizes that he actually lost the tournament to Sayo. Sayo's ending has her giving a speech to a public event and seeing Jin talks to him, with both of them having a pretty nice and romantic moment. Jun's ending has Kazuya and Jin fighting each other, this time friendly and not actually trying to kill each other, with all three being gathered together as a family, with her waking up and realizing it was just a dream. Jack's ending has him learning the moves from his opponents from the tournament, but having learned Alyssa's head explode mode blows away his creator. Brian's ending has him sitting on the top of a truck and driving with several others, shooting at targets and just being, you know, cool as fuck. Assassina's ending has her and Lily talking about what is better between coffee and tea, with her deciding to mix them both, creating a very popular drink. And also there's an alpaca there, and it's pretty cute. Lars' ending has him promoting his army in a commercial and him and Elisa sharing some romantic small talk. Lee's ending has him in his house, when suddenly several of his men are being attacked, with him flying out and leaving a cloud of brilliant written on it. I love this man, he's just so cool. Steve's ending has him beating multiple boxing tournaments and getting massively built. Yoshimitsu has him fighting against Brian, and right before he loses, the power from the blade defeats Brian, as we are shown that the blade itself has a part of Azazel's power. Dragunov, after having won the tournament, decides to take a break and build on his mini-tank collection, but finds out it's discontinued. In Sofina's ending, she managed to gather Jin and Kazuya's devil genes in a ball, with Claudio shooting his magic arrow from earlier, destroying the gene completely. In Little's ending, she holds a speech in an event. After it, she starts talking to Leroy, but Law, seeing rich people, wants to know if there's a way he can get some money from them, but Lily and Leroy ignoring him completely, so Law tries to touch her shoulder and Lily just smacks him to the ground. Also, I love when Lily does his poses in the speech, it's really funny. In Leo's ending, he and his father are going on an Indiana Jones-esque adventure. After his father breaks up a crystal, a round boulder rolls towards them with escaping just in time. Just your average Friday for Germans. Kazuya, winning the tournament that he hosted, gets interviewed, getting asked the most important question: his hobby. With Devil Jin being consumed by the devil, Devil Jin just destroys everything in his path, even shooting a big laser that destroys everything. In Claudio's ending, he managed to use his exorcism powers and destroy Azazel for good. Which means he doesn't have the top, but then he uses a Mokujin head on his table and places it on the top of the tank. Fang has been on top of a plane, jumping from it and hitting a storm with all his power. Being then in the same city as Leroy, his dog pisses on him and Fang is not really a big fan of it. In Leroy's ending, Leroy walks with his dog Sugar when being greeted by Sayo, who is a long-time friend of his, and for all time's sake they start fighting. Wurang, trying to find Jin and win against him in the tournament, finds him on his bike on a highway and starts to chase after him. With Nina, after being contracted by Lee to win the tournament, meets him at a cafe, beats him and throws a grenade at him. Panda, after winning the tournament, opens up a theme park called Pandaland and puts on a missing poster all over New York to try to find Jin, only for Jin to actually start to turn up. Law, winning the tournament, gets a lot of cash with Paul as his sidekick. However, he gets this massive bill that is so massive it makes him die and just goes to heaven. It is so fucking funny. It is like my favorite ending of all them. With Paul's ending, Paul wants to make it to the final Iron tournament, but due to a motorcycle crash and just being late, the tournament is actually closed when he arrives there. Shazin, in his ending, sees a G-Corp guard trying to shoot at Lily, runs towards her and blocks the bullet and stops the sniper. With Asuka, Shazin and Lily walking in the park like the besties they are. Raven, returning to the boat in Paris, gets attacked by his boss Victor, but it was just a test to see Raven's skills. Being impressed by his skill, Raven gets promoted and gets his own units to command under his name. With Victor winning, he's on the boat too, but with some G Corporation members trying to take him on. He beats him up with no sweat, and right after, he's away to meet a special lady. Rina, after having won the tournament, has a lot of the characters as her servants, with Kazuya chained up. Kazuya breaks free, but Rina stomps him in, showing who is the one in power now. With her walking out the balcony, pointing at the move and starts laughing like Tidus in Final Fantasy X. Then it's revealed it was just a dream and he's about to actually fight Kazuya. These story chapters were all really fun to experience. I was really happy to see them because they're always just a joy to see, but I think 8 has some of the best ones. Much of a big upgrade from 7, where I think half of them were kind of like unmemorable, but here I think all of them were really fun. Despite what I went through, there's still some more modes to talk about. We got the usual arcade mode where you pick one fighter to fight against their own opponents and then against the final boss. In 8 is Kazuya's Azazel Devil form, but there's also other returning modes such as Tekken Ball. Tekken Ball is a certified classic and I'm so happy it's back in 8 because oh my god, it is so fun. Pick any character against the other player and hit the ball to try and knock his health down. This is such a stupid concept, yet it works so well. Hitting the ball against your opponent and hit them hard is so satisfying. This game mode alone is worth buying the game for. I'm not even joking. It is so fun. Now, what if I told you that the dream of becoming an amazing Tekken player and winning big tournaments and fame was possible? What's that? That's not your big dream at all and you don't care about becoming the best Tekken player? Well, too bad. Here's Arcade Quest. So Arcade Quest is a new mode in Tekken. In Arcade Quest you play as your own custom made avatar to beat every opponent you see and win tournaments. It's a short mode that takes like 2 hours to beat, but not gonna lie, I quite like this mode. When creating your avatar you're greeted by a bunch of losers, friends, who will tell you the most important part is to have fun. Oh god, what a gay lesson, dude. If only I could have some edgy rival that was a dick with a badass theme song. Oh wait, there he is! Orichi is this cool as fuck dude who thinks everyone is a loser except for him. Everyone is focusing on how to customize the character to add personality, while he was all about becoming the best one. Your friends talk so often how it's important to customize your character and give them unique designs, but like, who gives a monkey? Who gives a fuck? I don't care if my character is customized or not, and honestly, Orichi is right, my friends are just a bunch of idiots. So you go through some tournaments and win them until you come to the final one where Mr. Harada himself, yes, that's the director of Tekken by the way, holds the tournament. And in the final fight, you and Orichi fight off with you winning. After winning, it's like, damn bro, you're kinda good. Wanna be friends? And so the friend group just got another loser into the group. With this, you are finally able to walk around the Tekken Plaza and talk to other people and fight them. Overall, it's a fun distraction. This mode was clearly made for those who have little experience with Tekken and want to get good at it. You will get health throughout the mode from your pal giving you advice on how to do combos and so on. It also has some bang music like Orichi's theme, which is like so fucking cool and just way too cool for this mode. You can even fight your own ghost. So you can train your own ghost so other people can fight against it when you're not available. It feels weird to fight your own ghost because this is essentially fighting yourself. Now all that remains to talk about now is this game online. To be honest, in the past I barely played online. Even at 7 I just did it to get the trophies. However, for 8 I knew I was going to be playing a lot more online with the matches, either me destroying my opponent or them destroying me. The online itself works pretty well, but it's definitely not perfect. Like, it would stop for like half a second here and there and did mess me up sometimes, but thank fuck it's nowhere near as bad as something like Mortal Kombat 1 online. Now you have the standard quick match or player matches, but by doing the arcade quest you can also hang around in Tekken Lounge and fight people there. Walking around seeing players playing the game or just chilling is just so fun. Here you can fight other people being on the same level as you or above. I personally prefer playing matches here than ranked. Biggest reason because people in ranked matches are either fucking assholes or just extreme tryhards that do nothing more in life than sit at their mom's basement, rotting without a job and only seeing the daylight once a year. But to be honest, this is kind of like with online games in general. I always hate ranked matches because the people are just so tryhard, it's not even funny, it's just so sad. But overall the online did work well for the most part. Sometimes I would lag, but most of the time it was solid, you know, it worked fine. And with that, I have pretty much talked about everything about this game, and yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I also think this might be my second or third favorite in the series. Like, this game does so much right and more. From the great story mode, fantastic graphics, awesome soundtrack, smooth as fuck battle system, great new mechanics and several awesome offline modes and more. This game still showed why Tekken is not only my favorite fighting game series, but one of my favorite series of all time. I am so glad seeing how amazing this game turned out, and I'm very excited for the DLC fighters for this game. Already the first one on its way is being Eddie Gordo. So with all that being said and done, I thank you all for watching this video, and please stay out of the cliffs, especially if your father is nearby.